I'm Ajita Idrimana, an attorney at law specializing in condominium property law. Today, I'm going to talk to you about management corporations. There are certain laws and regulations which govern management corporations. The main law, the statutory law that applies to management corporations is the Apartment Ownership Act number 11 of 1973 and its amendments. Then there are also regulations issued by the Condominium Management Authority. The only such regulation issued is under Gazette number 2026/25 of 5th July 2017. Then of course the Management Corporation has its own constitution. This is the statutory constitution which is given in the first schedule of Act number 45 of 1982. Then there are also bylaws, some of which are adopted by the Management Corporation at a general meeting. There is also set of statutory bylaws that's given in the second schedule of Act number 45 of 1982. Now, what is a management corporation? How does it come into existence? Upon the registration of the deed of declaration by the owner of the land, annexing to it the condominium plan or the provisional condominium plan or the semi-condominium plan as applicable, and submitting it for registration to the land registry or to the title registry. And upon registration of that document, automatically the management corporation, which is a statutory body, comes into existence. Now, it also carries a name, which is the serial number of the respective condominium plan. That is as provided in clause 2 of the first schedule. The management corporation also has its common seal and it has the power to sue and be sued. Now, that is in respect of any matter affecting the common elements. And when a case is filed or when somebody files a case against the management corporation, all owners of the units are jointly liable. So now, in a management corporation, all owners of condominium parcels become a body corporate with perpetual succession under the provisions of the apartment ownership law. That is, until the management corporation is dissolved, it continues its existence. Management corporation can be dissolved only when the condominium property is terminated. If all unit owners applies to court and request such termination in terms of the provisions of the apartment ownership law, the condominium property can be terminated and thereafter they need to go to court to dissolve the management corporation, or unanimously they can decide to dissolve it. The management corporation can elect a council at a general meeting because a management corporation on its own cannot administer and manage the condominium property. Now, let's talk about the constitution and bylaws. As I said earlier, the management corporation has a statutory constitution which is embodied in the first schedule of the Apartment Ownership Act number 45 of 1982. Then also there are certain statutory bylaws embodied in the second schedule of Act number 45 of 1982. Then also the management corporation and by its unit owners or the members can adopt by special resolution additional provisions to the constitution or to its bylaws. Now, why do they have these additional provisions? That is to safeguard the rights of each individual owner in the community referred to as a condominium property, and to maintain, manage and administer the condominium. Now, how can one adopt additional provisions? Additional provisions can be incorporated to the Constitution as long as there is no conflict with the statutory provisions. Now, for example, the statutory constitution does not talk of appointing a chairman or secretary or a treasurer. Now, these things can be brought into the constitution. because by bringing in provisions, creating a post called a chairman, a secretary or a treasurer, it does not conflict with the statutory provision. Then uh, also the statutory bylaws given in the second schedule of Act number 45 of 1982 can be added to by new bylaws adopted by the Management Corporation in terms of Section 20G, subsection 4, amended by Section 32, subsection 3 of Act number 39 of 2003. Because that particular section says the Management Corporation may, subject to the provisions of this law, by special resolution make additional bylaws for safety and security, keeping of pets, parking, floor coverings, garbage disposal, behavior, architectural and landscape guidelines to be observed by owners. Now, one thing I need to mention here is that in the statutory bylaw appearing in the second schedule, it says that no unit owner may keep a pet if any other unit owner complains against such pet. So when new provisions are brought in as a statutory bylaw regarding pets, one should bear in mind that it should not conflict with the earlier mentioned statutory bylaw regarding pets. Now, how can one adopt additional bylaws? It should be done by way of special resolution taken up at an annual general meeting or an extraordinary general meeting of the Management Corporation. And how can that be done? By giving 14 days notice to all unit owners, and in that notice very clearly the bylaw must be mentioned, clearly specified in the manner it would be taken up at the general meeting. And for it to be adopted as a special resolution, it requires the approval of holders of 3/4 of the share value, representing not less than 3/4 of the owners, that is, the members of the Management Corporation. Now, what kind of additional provisions can be added to the constitution of the Management Corporation? The name and office address of the Management Corporation. The number of members. Now, this will differ from condominium property to condominium property, because some condominium properties may have 15 owners or 15 members of the Management Corporation, or another larger condominium property could have even 100 unit owners, which means 100 members. So in the constitution, a provision can be brought in that the Management Corporation has only 100 members. Okay, then conducting meetings and procedures. Does it say in the statutory bylaw that no virtual meetings can be conducted? No, there's no specific reference to such prohibition. It does not say the manner of conducting a meeting. So now, at a time like this, when we have these COVID restrictions and there are directives issued by the government prohibiting public gatherings. So what is the best way of conducting a general meeting or even a council meeting at a time like this? Of course, virtually. Virtual general meeting would address the issue, because an annual general meeting needs to be conducted once every year. And between one annual general meeting and another, there, in terms of the statutory constitution, the period should not exceed 18 months. So then you need to conduct a general meeting. If all unit owners agree, if nobody objects, of course you could conduct a virtual general meeting. But it would be far better if you bring in an amendment to the if you bring in an addition provision to the constitution by way of a special resolution, that under prevailing circumstances, if it so requires, the Management Corporation may conduct its general meetings and council meetings virtually. So if you bring that in as a provision to your constitution, You don't have to worry, will this be okay? Can I conduct our meeting virtually? Do I need the physical presence of members? That question can be settled once and for all if you have that covered in your constitution. But if it is not so covered, and at a time like this, if people want to conduct virtual general meetings, I would say it should be okay, because the constitution as it stands at present does not prohibit a meeting being conducted virtually. But since you do not have it covered in the constitution, at a time like this, it will be advisable at the first general meeting itself to find out from the people who are present, or even at the time of sending the notice, whether there would be any objections to a meeting being conducted virtually. Then, disclosure of interest of council members. Now, there is no such provision in the statutory constitution. So, you could include provision by way of a special resolution that all council members should disclose their interest in any matter that is taken up at a council meeting before that matter is put for a vote. Then duties and powers of the management corporation. Now these duties are contained in the statutory provisions of section 20C subsection 1 and section 20C subsection 2 of Act number 45 of 1982. But you can include further duties and further powers provided such additional powers and duties do not conflict with the statutory provisions. Then about office bearers of the councils and rules relating to their appointment. Then minutes and the manner of conducting general meetings and council meetings as I discussed earlier regarding virtual meetings. Then maintaining books of accounts, financial year and annual audit. You can include in your constitution which particular period you would consider as the financial year of your management corporation and when an annual audit should be done, and about maintaining books of the management corporation. So all those things can be brought in as additional